We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. John 5:39. I cannot pick you up anymore. Abigail Dion. Hey, little cute little baby. Hey, little cute little baby. John 5:39. Cute little baby. Search the scriptures, for in them you think we'll give praise and esteem and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? If you don't believe his writings, you're not going to believe this man's words. Let's go to Exodus 34. Hey, cute little baby. You were in your room?
Yeah.
Now you can sit upon your bum. We look at verse 1. No, do not play with her right now. You know better. You know what this is. This is not your first rodeo. Bye-bye, Abigail. Let me get myself in order. Get my app ready. Exodus 34:1 says this. I'm already there. I'm trying to get on that. Yahuwah said unto Moses, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou break. So, he told him to hew 2 tables. That word is pasal. It literally means to cut, to hew and to shape, or to hew out, or to cut out. Cut out. So when we look at pasal, because we finna go through a lot of things, we get the pa, the samat, and the lamad. So we get a mouth, we get support, and you get teaching. So when he told him to hew out or to cut out another 2 tables of stone, this will be a supportive teaching that comes out of a man's mouth. This kind of goes right back to what we were talking about on Wednesday about the Salak in regards to it is the supportive teaching of separation. So again, just on general principle, just because I feel like it, because it said the mouth will teach you, will bring forth a supportive teaching. We need to go to screw it, we're just staying in the law with it. Deuteronomy 30. I was going to go to Romans 10, but we're just going to stay right where it's at in the law with it. Because that's what we're dealing with anyway. And we need to spend more time in the law anyhow. Deuteronomy 30. You read it out of the law. 30 and 10. So you have to realize something. Faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. Yahuwah, who have believed our report, into the whom is the arm of Yahuwah revealed. Because that revelation will be your support, and he will teach you what you ought to do. So in order for these 2 tables of stones which you break to be hewed out or cut out, he has to be, see, and again, that takes us back, that's why I focused on that John 5, because he told you what? If you have not believed the writings, you're not going to believe his words. So you're not going to hear from that mouth that supportive teaching. Because what is this teaching supporting you towards? It's a teaching to support you towards godliness and away from death. It's very, very simple. I know I just mentioned this. Well, sometimes we can look at stuff and we overcomplicate it just because we thinking that something is deeper. Just because that's how our minds work when we dealing with the word. Because we know it's simplistically complex. But Yahuwah made it so simplistically complex that it's not as really as deep as we get it in our minds to look at. That a lot of times the answer is just right there. It's just right there. But that's also because we looking for, which ain't nothing wrong with it, truth be told, another level of understanding of pulling stuff out, especially considering the level of curriculum that Yahuwah allows us to be able to deal with. Of course, our mind is naturally going to gravitate towards that, and that's a given. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm sitting back looking at, like, because I told the brother this other day, I don't care what these niggas talking about, B. I really don't. It's 10 years, niggas still arguing about who Esau is, man. Are you serious? Niggas arguing about the earth flat and is eating a cheeseburger a sin and how many wives you can have and all this type of stuff, and niggas is dying and going to hell, man. At the end of the day, niggas is not leaving here with this man Ruach in their body, which means they not being quickened to life everlasting, which means we done forgot what we came for. Because at the end of the day, how he told you to cut out these new 2 stones and make them like unto the first, we're taking us back to what we were talking about with can't no man see this, no man can see Yahuwah and live. You got to be cut out and made all over again. You got to be cut out and made all over again. And we're going to read John 3 just because. You got to be cut out, rebuilt, and made all over again. Same way he cut out. He told him straight up and down, man, hew 2 tables of stone like unto the first. Like unto. Let's just look at the word for like, because sometimes people forget what like means. We'll look at what the word like mean in Hebrew. But we know in English when something is like something, that means it's just similar. Now the word is like unto the first, and it's just the word for first. And that's Rishon, and that's primary, formerly, at first, former things, beginning. But you know we can use that because he said to make it like the former things or how things were at the beginning. So praise Yah, we'll work that in again. We'll work that. Pray the Lamb. Deuteronomy 30 and 10. Because I got a lot of time. I don't want to talk too much. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the Torah. And if thou turn unto Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It is not in Shamahim that thou should say, who shall go up for us to Shamahim and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it. Neither is it beyond the sea that thou shalt say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it. But the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou may do it. Now let's go to Luke chapter 17 and verse 17. See, the word is right there because this is the word of faith of which we preach. This is the word of faith of which we preach. We don't want 17 to 17. Yeah, screw it. We'll back it up to about verse 13. Or probably about verse 11. Just to catch, because it's the same premise. It came to pass as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Yahushua, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, go show yourselves unto the priests. Now we haven't got to that point yet. But if any of you know the law, if my memory serves me correctly, it might be Leviticus 14, and more than likely it's Leviticus 15, at the furthest Leviticus 16, where it talks about why he told them to show themselves to the priests. Because there was particular things that the lepers were supposed to do, and they were supposed to show themselves to the priests. We're not dealing with that particular matter, nor will we go into great detail on it at this time. But that means if I told you where the chapters were, that means that's on you to go read that for yourself on your own time to familiarize yourself with it. For when Yahuwah willing, we return back to that particular matter, if you were unaware. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back with a loud voice and esteemed Elohim. And he fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. This is a stranger. And Yahushua answering said, were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? They are not found that return to give esteem to Elohim, save this stranger. And he said unto him, arise, go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of Elohim should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of Elohim come not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here, or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of Elohim is within you. See that word. See, and how is the kingdom of Elohim already in you? Because that goes back to what we were talking about. It's two Ruach HaKodashes, it's two breaths. And that kingdom of the everlasting life, that spirit, like this here, right? It's already within you. That word is already there. But do you believe it? Will you hearken to it? See, a lot of times, right, this here, right, for lack of a better usage, we can't say that it's Yahuwah every time in those instances. But most people before the word, you heard a voice in your head. Something in your head would tell you not to do something that you had no business doing. But yet you would go do it anyway, and you would see the end result from not listening. And it don't be nothing, because as the book says, the Ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak. The inward man is always willing to do what Yahuwah says. It's always willing to do what the word say. But we're always willing to do what we want to do, so we disregard it. We don't hearken to it. We don't listen to it. I can remember somebody telling me a long time ago, they were like, yeah, man, I hear stuff and they were dealing with the word at this time, so who knows? It could have been the Ruach of Elohim. I can't speak to it. But they say they would always hear things for them to do, and they would never listen. So let's just say that was the Ruach of Elohim, and Yahuwah would just sin if they would obey, if they would listen. Small thing, ain't even things about not sinning. Just simple things that he instruct you to do. Some people say, well, why God speak to this person and don't speak to this person? Why would y'all speak to people who not going to listen? Why would he spend his time focused upon people who are not going to obey? See, the reason why I mention this is because he said it don't come with observation. It's not something, that's the same thing that Paul quoted it, with what Moses wrote when he was speaking from the mouth of Elohim. The word of faith is not anything you can see. See, matter of fact, since I said that, let's go on and get that John 3 now. Because he finna say it in that John 3. I'm going to work my way to it. And after John 3, John 17. And there's a couple other places, but I don't want, because I've got off topic. And I don't want to get off topic. When I'm finna hit this John 17, I'm going to have to paraphrase. I might pull one of them. John chapter 3. You know what it is. Verse 1. You ready to go to bed? Make it 3 and 3. Don't come in here with all that noise. Yahushua answered and said unto him, truly, truly, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Elohim. Nicodemus saith unto him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Yahushua answered, truly, truly, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Ruach, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Elohim. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of Ruach is Ruach. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. The wind blow where it is list, and thou hear the sound thereof. Stop, Leah. Stop. Well, that's enough, because you're doing too much. The wind blow where it list, and thou hear the sound thereof, but cannot tell whence it come and whither it go. So is everyone that is born of the Ruach. Remember what, see, come here, Leah. You go night night. You got new teeth? Bye bye, Leah. He said, remember the master said, you don't know whence I come and whither I go. Why do they not? Why would he sit back? Everyone that's born of the Ruach, don't nobody know where they come from? Well, let's see why. John 17 and 1. You know, when it comes to the word, everybody feel like they want to be somebody instead of being in the body. See, that's what niggas' problem is. They want to be somebody instead of being in the body of Yahushua. And just playing their position and role in his body however he see fit. Because niggas is after vain esteem and vain glory and numerous other things of high capping that niggas participate in on a regular basis. Do you know what I'm saying? The sad part is that if they continue down that pathway of ignorance and just pure and utter despicable hypocrisy, that they will see that they say, but you be told, they probably know this when they're alone and their conscience calls. uh, as he said that you will be cast out and there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I've told you before and I tell you again. In the book of Proverbs, it says that you see a man diligent in his business, he'll stand before kings. Are you diligent in your business to stand before the King of Kings? Or are you slothful in your business and you'll be hungry in harvest time? This question you ask yourself, what did you come for? At the end of the day, you need to transport yourself back to the day when you first heard the word and said, this is what I want to do. What was your why then? And what is your why now? Are they the same? Are they different? And if they're different, why so? And if they're the same, why so? I may ask all of you this in person. At my leisure. Could be on tomorrow. Could be next week. Could be 2 months from now. I would do it now. But you're on the phone and that's going to take too long. So, ask yourself, what was your why then? Was your why because your friends were doing it? Because it was something new? Because you felt pride in yourself? Because you felt like you weren't a nigga no more? You felt like you were something special? Because you, quote unquote, found out your history of who you were? What was your why? Were you motivated that you had to save your soul? Were you doing it just because it just felt like it was something to do? What is your why right now? What type of example do you set to people who don't believe? What type of example do you set to people who do believe? What type of example do you set to your children? Has your heart been softened? Have you learned to be selfless? Where is your faith at this present moment in time? What is it that is precluding you from receiving the precious gift of life? What is it inside of you that's stopping you? Because you know what it is. And if you know what it is that's stopping you, why are you holding on to it? What is it about it that you're scared of? What are you insecure about? As forth as it comes to what you're holding on to that will stop you from attaining eternal life. What is the problem? What is it? What wound do you have that you have not been allowed to have Neosporin, alcohol, and a Band-Aid put on so it can scab up and heal? Or when you see it heal, do you pick at the scabs because you want to stay in a perpetual state of victimhood and to wallow in self-pity instead of digging down deep and have some manner of courage and resolve to face whatever it is that has injured you in your lifetime or whatever fear that you have in you and face it head on so you can defeat it? Because you can't deal with stuff by running from it. You got to face it. That's why a nigga will be quick to scream he ain't growing, she ain't growing. It's because there's things inside of you that you are not confronting. You're running from them. And you think if you can run from these things, that this is an environment conducive to growth. And it is not. Because you're not facing the things that are not allowing you to grow. Because you're holding dead weight. And as he tells you in the epistle of the Hebrews in the 12th chapter, it's time to lay aside the sin and the weight that easily beset us and to run the race with patience. It's time to put it to the side. Nevertheless, John 17:1. These words spake Yahushua, lifted up his eyes to Shamahim and said, Abba, the hour is come, esteem thy son, that thy son also may esteem thee. And as thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. And this is life eternal, that they might know thee, the only true Elohim, and Yahushua HaMashiach, whom thou hast sent. I have esteemed thee on their rats, and I have finished the work which thou gave me to do. And now, O Abba, esteem thou me with thy own self, with the esteem which I had with thee before the world was. Now, remember the Rishon, or the first, make like unto the first. Make this table of stone like it was in the beginning. He just asked for the esteem that was on him from the beginning to be placed back on him on the back end. So again, as we looking at this, because we're working towards something, which is the miracles, the marvels. That's what we're working towards. So bear with me, because I got time. It's 9:30. So we can build to it. Because that's the better way to do something. You build to something, and then it's easier to understand when you build to it. So if he's telling you that to make these tables like unto the first, 2 tables of stone. We know Yahushua is the chief cornerstone. He is that stone. And he said because the people broke the covenant, that he needed to make a covenant to make him like unto the first. So that means we have to go back. Well, I'm not going to go back and actually read these because you know them because we just read them recently. In the first chapter of Matthew, in the 21st verse, it tells you that it says that his name, that it'll be fulfilled, that Emmanuel or Elohim is with us. Galatians chapter 4 tells us about how he was made under the law, born of a woman. Hebrews 2 and 14 tells us about how he didn't take on him the nature of Malachim, but it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren. Therefore he took on the nature of the seed of Abraham. But it necessitated for him to be made like unto the first to renew this covenant. Because you know in Matthew 26 and 28 he told you, take, drink, this is my blood for the new covenant. So now they have to take these 2 tables of stone and he has to hew them and cut them out and make them like unto the first. He has to make them like what he was in the beginning. See, this goes back to what we were talking about last week, that the first Adam was made a living soul, but the second Adam was made a quickening spirit or a quickening ruach. Again necessitating why you must be born again, and again necessitating the need that you must receive this man's spirit. I don't care if you want to say Ruach HaKodesh. I don't care if you want to say Holy Spirit. I don't care if you want to say Holy Ghost. Whatever the case may be. I know some niggas have a problem with it. Nevertheless, you need the essence, the eternal spirit of the living Elohim, the living God, Yahuwah of hosts, by Yahushua HaMashiach, or you are none of his, and you will go to hell. Because at the end of the day, some of y'all might have not known when you started that that's what you were coming for. I think y'all, when I started, I knew that that's what I was coming for. Because I remember my homeboys used to mock me about that. Well, you always talking, because I was reading the text and I seen it plain in the text that this is the entire goal and objective of the faith, is to receive the Ruach of the living. See, let's show you an example of that. Acts 19, just on general principle. It's the whole goal and objective of the whole play. Peter told you, and when he was preaching to them people, repent and be baptized that you might receive the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh. That is what you're here for. That's what you're coming for. That's eternal salvation. What else are you coming for? You coming for a boyfriend, a husband, a girlfriend, a wife, some money, a job, notoriety? That's what you came for. See, niggas say a lot of things about me, think like this. I came to save my soul. All that other stuff, nigga, that's you, nigga. That's you that's on that. Because I'm not on that. And never have been. And don't never besmirch or disrespect my character on that. Because I told you before, your personality is who you are. Your character is what you do. So you want to take on the character of Elohim because you want to do what he do. See, one thing for certain, 2 things for sure. Niggas love to project what type of time they on the other people. You know what I'm saying? Especially people who can necessarily be misunderstood. Most people who are misunderstood because people don't take the time to understand them, because people fear what they don't understand. That's why they feared Mashiach, because they didn't understand him. They didn't understand him. These coward old slewfoot niggas always screaming this here, they be the first one to murder him. Because we see how these whole niggas move now. They hate righteousness. They hate justness. This book tells us every single person who was born of Elohim sin not, his seed remain in him. Because he going to be like at the beginning. There has to be a transformation. All the slewfoot playing around, the hypocrisy, you know what I'm saying, the iniquity, the transgression, the sin, that junk got to go. The pride, the ego, the selfishness, the jealousy, the malice, the spitefulness, the lust, the lasciviousness, the adulteries, the fornications, the murdering, the lying, the blasphemies, the idolatries. That junk got to go. What you holding on to it for? He said, that which is of the flesh is of the flesh, and that which is born of the Ruach, that which is born of God is of God. That's the whole point. That's the objective. That's what you here for. Yeah. Nigga just called up, I keep the Sabbath. And you going to hell, you don't get the man's spirit, so you might as well have not kept it. I don't eat pork. And if your faith is not on par, and you don't receive this man Ruach, you still going to hell and you ain't eat no pork. You might as well ate all the shrimp. Because you done forgot what you came for. Because you thinking that you coming here for the simple fact of, see y'all, I did what you say, you owe me. That ain't what you here for. This man is not your personal genie. He's not your personal servant. He bought you with his own blood. That means he tell you and direct you in what you ought to do. It seems that we forget that. Because we feel like that our lives, and it's like this here, right? Let's just keep it high. You got 6 days out the week, 144 hours out the week to do whatever it is that you want to do. This man don't do nothing but ask you for 24 hours to not be concerned about what you want to do. And we can't even get a man a full 24. Look at the ratio of that. 144 hours to do whatever it is that you want to do. That man ain't do nothing but ask for a seventh of that. It's 168 hours in a week, and he ain't asked but for a seventh. Let them 24 be mine. Just them 24. I gave you you can't even, that's justice right there. You can't even be mad at it. Man says 168 hours in a week, and I only want 24 of them. The way you just completely solely concerned with what I want. Because you're supposed to be completely concerned with what he wants 7 days a week. But you still can move and do the things you want to do. You know, if you want to hit a show, watch you a show on TV, whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third, be banded about and concerned with all their affairs in life. You got 6 days a week, 144 hours to do it. That man said, I just want one. I just want 24 hours. I just want one. Just one. And we begrudgingly do that. We begrudgingly do that. That's why I always mention this here. Boy, nigga be on time for them crackers. I guarantee you if them crackers tell you to be at court at 9:15, you niggas there at 8:45. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be there 30 minutes early. Because you don't want Mr. Charlie had no problem with you. But we treat our God like, shoot, I get that when I feel like it. Because you concerned that you looking at it at the people. It's you coming for your God. You're not coming for the people. You're not coming for the individual who's dispensing the information. That is for your God. That's who you do that for. And when you get to that point, I mean, you done forgot what you came for. Because you coming to seek his face. Not the preacher's face. Not the congregation's face. His face. His word. You done forgot what you came for. That's what happened to Yasharal. He said we done forgot him days without number. We forgot what we came for. See, when you were moaning and groaning in your sins, like your forefathers were moaning and groaning in Egypt, soon as they got up out of there, they forgot what they came for. Soon as you felt like he freed you from one sin you felt like you had a problem with, you forgot what you came for. And you slipped into something else. Or you slipped into something else. So let me tell you something. I'll rebuke a nigga if a nigga out of pocket. I ain't got no problem with that. You have to go really, really hard, consistently over an extended period of time, doing the same thing over and over again for me to really, really snap. But niggas will come for a nigga if they do something out of pocket. But yet, nigga, you doing stuff out of pocket. This makes people sit back and look at us and not only not take our God seriously, but they're not taking you seriously. Then this also makes people not even want to deal with individuals as a whole, because they feel like niggas class A hypocrite. And the total lack. I told a nigga this here. Nigga was going in on a nigga about their behavior. Book tell you in Galatians 6th chapter. So if you see somebody caught up in a fault, to restore them in the spirit of meekness, lest you be tempted. See, nigga be so, you gotta always be careful. Nigga so quick to point out what you doing and go hard on you about what you doing, and they not in that position to where that's their job to do so. Nigga got some stuff going on in their own house, and they really trying to put that focus off on you so they don't feel like nobody put no focus on them. Like niggas know what you're doing. Because I don't know what niggas doing. I don't ask. I don't seek it out. But I will tell you this here, anything that's of ungodliness, that is my business. Because I'm in the business of godliness and the destruction of ungodliness. So it is my business. It's not personal. It's not your personal business. If I was to choose to speak on it, I wouldn't be wrong. That would just be my personal prerogative if I chose to or chose not to. I wouldn't be wrong if I chose to. And if you was offended, take it up with y'all. Because if I spoke on it publicly, I'm just doing my job. You don't like it, take it up with him. Because that's the business that I'm in. I'm in the business of destroying ungodliness and uplifting godliness. That is my occupation. Your personal business, I'm not going to talk about that. Who cares? Anything that has to cross the line in the realm of what's written in this book, that's my business. And I'll talk about it when I feel like it. How I feel like it, when I feel like it. You know what I'm saying? And your personal feelings mean absolutely nothing to me. And I've always operated like this. So don't just think I'm just throwing something out there. No, I'm just clarifying that for anybody who may hear or see later. Because if you preach the word, that's the business that you're in. We're in the business of destroying ungodliness. You got to sit back and realize, why are you comfortable with anybody able to blaspheme the name of your God because of you? Why does that? Why are you comfortable in participating in behavior that could cause anybody to do that? If you can do that, you are a selfish individual. Because you don't really care about your God, you care about yourself. You done forgot who you represent, and you done forgot who you came for and what you came for. And that cannot occur. Acts chapter 19, verse 1. And it came to pass that while Apollos was at Corinth, Paul, having passed through the upper coast, came to Ephesus, and finding certain disciples, he said unto them, have you received the Ruach HaKodesh since you believe? See, now you have to ask, now what would some of y'all do if somebody asked you, you believe in the book? And you say, yeah. Have you received the Ruach HaKodesh since you believe? And if you tell them no, what's your answer going to be when they say why? Why haven't you received it? Because if you say you believe, why haven't you received it? And they said unto him, we have not so much as heard whether there be any Ruach HaKodesh. He said unto them, unto what then were you immersed? And they said, unto Yachanan's immersion. Then said Paul, truly, John truly immersed with the immersion of repentance, saying unto the people that thou shalt believe on him which should come after me, and that is on Yahushua HaMashiach. And when they heard this, they were immersed in the name of the Master Yahushua. And when Paul laid his hands upon them, the Ruach HaKodesh came on them, and they spake with tongues and prophesied. And all the men were about 12. That's a strong thing what he stated, because he said if you believe, then you should receive that. Why haven't you? I can't answer that question for any of you. If I tried to answer it, it would be purely speculation on my part. I could be accurate in my speculation. I could be inaccurate. But again, on my part, it would be truly speculation unless Yahuwah decided to intercede and to give that information unto me. I don't necessarily see him doing it. I don't necessarily see him not doing it. But nevertheless, you know the answer. You know the answer. And if you know the answer, what are you proactively doing to correct that? To change that? Because it doesn't come with observation. It is within you. So if it's within you, are you laying it up? Is it changing your character? Are you renewing your mind? Are you becoming an incorruptible seed and not a corruptible seed? What is it? Because he said he got to make you like you was in the beginning. Because he said you got to make these tables stone like it was in the beginning. When we see Yahushua resurrected from the dead, we see that he was like what he was in the beginning. He said, handle me. A spirit don't have flesh and blood, bones as you see me have. He was just like what he was in the beginning. To make this covenant. So we see to make this covenant, if to make the hew out two stones like it was in the beginning, it was to make us eternal beings as it was intended to from the jump street. Which was the intention. Which was the goal. Which was the objective. Return to Exodus chapter 34. I got to move further down. But as we can see when we look at that hue, got to pull that word back up again. I'm sorry. I'm old, so forgive me. And we get that pasal, that's the mouth, that's supportive teaching. Yahushua told you in the 12th chapter of John in the 49th verse, that all he speaks is what his Father told him to speak, and he know his commandment is life everlasting. The word of Elohim is to give you support. So if you're going to be hewed out and to be made like unto the first, then Elohim is going to give you the support that you need, that you require, which is Yahushua. That's why he said to humble yourselves unto him and to cast your care upon him before, because he cared for you. Because he will be your support. He will hold you up. Let's look at Philippians 4 and about 10 and everybody's favorite every Christian favorite verse to use. Remember, we talked about that support. When David needed support, he sent Jonathan to strengthen him. When Yahushua needed support, he sent Malachi to strengthen him. Matter of fact, before we read that Philippians 4, let's hit this Job. I think it's Job. I gotta remember what chapter. I don't think it's Job. I know it's Job. I need to remember the chapter. That's what I need to do. I ain't no thinking. I know it's Job. Job 17. 17 and just simply just verse 9. Just simply verse 9. It says, the righteous also shall hold on his way. We know that's the way to the highest that covers sins, and that's Yahushua. So we say the righteous is going to grab hold to that. And he that has clean hands. Hello?
Shalom.
Shalom, Martha. Say the righteous also shall hold on his way, and he that hath clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. He that have clean hands get strength. See, you know why a lot of niggas ain't getting strong? Because your hands are not clean. Since I said that, Isaiah chapter 1 verse 14. Before we read whatever that was I was trying to get. I can't remember now. Oh yeah, Philippians. But get this Isaiah chapter 1. So if your hands are clean, see, you wonder why nigga don't grow or don't get no stronger? Because your hands are dirty. Because you haven't taken hold on his way. Because if you took hold on his way, then you would be walking to the pathway to Abba, which is going to cover your sins. And then because your hands are clean, you're going to get stronger and stronger. See, you can't get strong and you still holding on to sin. That's not possible. That is not possible. That's just not possible. Let's look at what he said in Isaiah 1 and 14. Look what he did. Wash you and make you clean and put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes and cease to do evil. So in order for you to make yourself clean, you have to put away the sin. You have to put it away. You have to put it away. Because if you're going to be hue, because you have to look at it in the same, if it's pasal, and that's the hue and the cutout to make it like unto the first, and this is the mouth giving you a supportive teaching to make you like you were in the beginning, or how he was in the beginning, then you have to hearken. See, niggas don't listen. Niggas don't listen. That's niggas' problem. Niggas don't listen. So because you don't listen, see, this is how you forget what you came for. Because you hear the goal, you hear the objective, you see it, but see, your eyes were bigger than your appetite. And you realize that I'm not really willing. I was listening to an audio book. The audio book is 3 hours and 43 minutes. I'm nowhere near completing that book, obviously, because I just started listening to it yesterday. But he was talking about a particular thing is for someone having a vision to get to where they're going. See, a lot of people want to try to lead people in a direction in a particular place, but they don't have an idea of how they're even going to get to that particular place. Then on top of that, they're not actually doing the work to get to that particular place. So then when you look at Yahushua, he laid out the vision of how he was going to get to that particular place, and then how he was going to get you to that particular place. And then he began to do the work to get to this particular place. Because remember, we talking about he became a man, so therefore he was an unclean man, because he was in unclean flesh. Because that takes us back to when he made another vessel and one was marred or one was corruptible. So he washed himself in his own blood to wash you in his own blood, so that you could be clean and you could be stronger and stronger, that you could cease from doing evil. See, but we don't want to follow the blueprint or the vision that the man set to attain. So we forget what we came for. So instead we like to talk about it. You like to talk about your sins being forgiven. You like to talk about him making a sacrifice for sins. But then you don't want to actually follow in his footsteps. And that's the problem. That's the problem. But everybody want to be a leader and a teacher of the word. But nobody is actually demonstrating anything to say, you know what? I'll follow by him because at least he's doing it. At least he's adding value. Because that's what Yahushua... Look at the value that... Look at... The definition of a leader is one who serves and adds value. Mashiach said right out of his mouth that I did not come to be served, but I came to serve. And he came... Nobody added value to him. He added value to you. And that's why you ought to sit back and consider that you ought to follow him. But we look at the value that he added: eternal life, the Ruach HaKodesh, the putting away of sin, the many gifts of the Ruach HaKodesh. You're not able to be made rich. You have access to a kingdom. You're redeemed back to your God. You can, all these things that he added unto you, and you don't appreciate them. So then you end up forgetting what you came for, and you think you just here to talk about it, instead of attaining the things that he took himself through to be able to hand over to you. Simple as that. Verse 17, and then we'll scatter on out of there. Well, I'll probably drop down about verse 20. Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, and plead for the widow. Come now, let us reason together, saith Yahuwah. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. And though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If you be willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of Yahuwah has spoken it. If you want a buck, he gonna kill you. Remember, he said he coming with a sharp sword out of his mouth. But Philippians chapter 4, though. Because remember, if you got clean hands, you're gonna get stronger and stronger. If you find yourself not getting stronger in the word, it's because your hands are not clean. Go wash your hands. He said, you spread out your hands to me, yet they covered in blood. How they covered in blood? Because remember what the law said: you commit sin, your blood is upon you. You got sin upon you. Go wash your hands. Lay hold onto his way, and your hands will be washed, and you can get stronger. We're not getting stronger because we're not washing up. Niggas so apt to wash their hands after using the bathroom, but you won't wash your hands spiritually. A nigga will walk around and say, he came out the bathroom, he ain't wash his hands. Well, that's how you would feel about you with your lifestyle. Look at this nigga, he ain't wash his hands. He ain't wash his hands. You should be utterly disgusted at hypocrisy and sin, as the same way you disgusted if you know a nigga went in the bathroom and took a dump and came out and didn't wash their hands. What's the difference? You unclean both ways. If you spread out your hands after taking a dump and ain't wash your hands, and you spreading your hands to pray, and you got sin on you, y'all looking at them both the same way. That's unclean. I'm not accepting that. This nigga's nasty. He didn't even wash himself. Do you not realize in our law he told them people to wash their clothes and themselves before they even approached unto him? He said we need to clean ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and the ruach, perfecting the fear of Elohim and the beauty of Kadesh. That's what is wrong with us. It doesn't make any sense. Nevertheless, Philippians chapter 4. You can't get complacent. Nigga get complacent. Oh, it's the Sabbath again. Oh, I can't do this here. Remember, man, you got to remember that. A seventh. 168 hours in a week. And that man only want 24. 168 hours in a week. And he only want 24. That's all he want, 24. I think that's an even swap. I think you can go without doing what you want to do for 24 hours. I think you could go without thinking about what you want to do for 24 hours. You got 144. You got 144. We could sit up all night for things of no consequence. We couldn't dare sit up all night to hear the word. I'm tired. I gotta go to sleep. Niggas sit up all night watching movies though. Niggas sit up all night watching TV. Niggas sit up all night playing on their phone. Niggas sit up all night playing video games. Niggas sit up all night reading books. Some of these niggas sitting up all night watching porno. Because I promise I just tell niggas about the earth. I didn't promise these niggas been around here sharing the video. Thank God ain't nobody on my page do it. Of a nigga from out east committing fellatio on another man. I just seen a dude say, why do Hebrews share videos of homosexual acts talking about look at this abomination? That's why I mentioned the point, because these niggas watching this stuff on their own time. They try to clean it up and say, look at this abomination. No, you into that. Because if it was abominable, you wouldn't even watch that. And we do all this stuff 6 days a week, and we act like it's a begrudging thing to do, to set aside 24 hours, man. 24 hours out of 106 days. Now, why would you think this man would set aside a day of rest for us if we can't even do it for him? When the whole purpose of the Sabbath was to get you prepared for the day when he would cause you to rest from all your enemies, naturally and spiritually. That's what you preparing for. That's what you're doing it for. For you to understand you got rest in your God. That one day you will rest from all your labors and your works do follow you, and you will forever be what you were. That's what you do it for, because you done forgot what you came for. Now it became ritualistic. Now you done got complacent because you feel it's routine. You done forgot what you came for, which is eternal salvation. He said there remains a rest for the people of Elohim. He said today if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. There's still a rest and a salvation for the people of Elohim. That's what you're supposed to be remembering. You're supposed to remember what you came for. You done forgot what you came for. So that's how niggas slide off into sin and selfishness, because they done forgot. Philippians 4:10. He said, if I rejoice in the master greatly, but that now at your last care of me have flourished again, wherein you were careful, but you lacked opportunity. Now that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. I know how both to to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere in all things I'm instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Mashiach, which strengthened me. Now why is he able to do all things through this man that strengthened him? Because he has cleaned his hands. We already know that. Acts 9, Acts 22 tell you about it. Acts 26 tell you about it. He cleansed his hands. He said he know that he came, that Yahushua HaMashiach came to save sinners, of whom he was chief. That he could be the pattern of long suffering for all sinners to come. Because once he was seen of his error, he cleaned his hands. And he laid hold on his way. And he got stronger and stronger because his hands got cleaned. So if you're going to be born again, that's why you got to be born of the water and the Ruach. You got to be born of Elohim to be made like unto the first. Because this is what Yahushua did. He ended up being made like unto the first. Like the first table of stone. Like it was in the beginning. Eternal. This is the difference between the first covenant and the second one, which our people cannot even be able to remotely understand. Nigga so worried about arguing about a culture, nigga, you dying and going to hell if your soul is not saved. If this man does not dwell in you, you will burn. Does that bother you? Again, let's go back to the day you started. What was your why? Why did you even begin to... Well, we clearly know if anybody had a desire to seek Yahuwah anyway, before they even knew the truth of the matter, it's because he put it in your heart in the first place. Let that be known. He placed that in there in the first place. So once you were consciously aware of what was going on, what was your why? Whoever it was that brought the information to you, what was the first thought that clicked into your brain? Do you remember? And what is your why right now? Your why shouldn't be for your kids. It shouldn't be for your wife. It shouldn't be for your husband. It shouldn't be for your friends. It should be for Yahuwah. Let everybody else fall in the order where they slot at after that. Your why should be, I want to please my Father in heaven. Your why should be, I want to see his face. Your why should be, I want to live forever. Your why should be, I want to attain to the promises of which he promised, because I know that he is faithful. He cannot lie. Is it impossible? Because if you do that, as it says for the woman in 1 Peter chapter 3, then the man might be converted by that woman's righteous conduct, and he might repent and turn, and vice versa. The kids will have the living example of the word, so therefore they will be inclined to follow, because not only do you instruct them in word, but you do in deed. So therefore you would be leading by example and showing forth that service, and they would be inclined to follow. Hold on, y'all. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, they would be inclined to follow. See, we think we could get people to follow just by talking to them. You get people to follow by actually doing it yourself. And they see you doing it, then they'll do it. Don't be around here telling your kids to be godly and you not being godly. They're not gonna follow you. When they get grown, they gonna dip. When they get grown, they gonna dip. You want your kids to be godly, then be that representation. And if they turn from godliness after that, may they burn in hell expeditiously. Because they wouldn't say that they didn't hear nor see it. I know that may be saddening on your part, but it is what it is. They made their choice. You can't do anything about it. Because at the end of the day, your soul had to be saved. You can't save your son. You can't save your daughter. You can't save your wife. You can't save your husband. You can't save your mama. You can't save your daddy. You can't save your friends. You can't save nobody. You can only save yourself. And as Peter told you, and we can go back to Exodus 34, save yourselves from this untoward generation. That need to be your first objective. I seen a woman the other day say a woman should not listen to any other man's hearing other word but her husband's. I said that ain't nowhere in the book. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something right now, and I told you before, but I'm gonna make this painfully clear. Ain't nothing wrong. I promote it. Sit down with your husband, man. Go through the word together. Just because you married to a man don't mean he qualified to teach you the word, though. If he any type of man and he not an insecure man, then you should be able to look your wife in. Because guess what, right? If you tell a woman that I'm the only person you can hear the word from, what if she run across? What if Samson told his wife that? Then she wouldn't have listened to that Malachim that came to bring her the glad tidings of Samson. What if Joseph told Mary that? Then she wouldn't have listened to the Malach Gabriel and what he had to tell her about Yahusha. She would have rejected that. That means none of the people would have went to the temple to hear the priests. Like, where did these niggas get that from? If you any type of man, then you would already sit back and say, you know what? You know the word of Yahuwah. Go with what's right. Make sure that what they say, search the scriptures daily to see if those things are so. What this individual said to you. Not only him, but me too. You don't blindly, because that's my husband, he got to know what he talking about. Because some of these niggas will have you hemmed up and messed up just because they want to dispense the word to you to be able to control your behavior, because they don't care nothing about your soul. They're trying to control you. Ain't no real man of God intimidate. The man say if they be with us, they not against us. So what you care who she catch a word from? If it's right, what you care for? That's for her soul. Do niggas care about do they care about your wife's soul, or do these niggas care about control? That's where confusion come in at different doctrine. Well, nigga, if a nigga telling her something different and she bring it to you, then you stupid nigga, y'all sit down and go through the book and see if it's right. What do you mean? It's not difficult. I don't understand that one. I ain't never understood that one. Don't listen to no other man. What if this nigga don't know what he talking about? Now you going to hell. Shoot. You better not go to hell. You not there. One of y'all women better go to hell behind no man. That's the dumbest thing in the world, to go to hell behind a man. You let that nigga go to hell by himself. You let that nigga go to hell by himself. But don't you dare go to hell behind no man. You know what I'm talking about? You can't be that in love to go to hell behind no man. It can't be that serious. That nigga can't be that freaky. He can't be that nice. He can't provide that well to go to hell behind no man. Ain't no way in the world. That's the dumbest thing ever. Ever. Don't be that stupid. Let that stupid nigga go to hell by himself. Pray for him. That's what you do. Exodus 34. That's all you can do. You save your soul. Don't you go to hell behind no man. That's dumb. 34 and 2. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to meet in the top of the mount. No man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks or their herds feed before the mount. And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai as Yahuwah commanded him. And he took in his hand the 2 tables of stone. Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. Yahuwah passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah Elohim, merciful, gracious, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that while by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children's children, unto the 3rd and the 4th generation. Moses made haste and bowed his head towards their rats and worship, and he said, If now I have found Khan in thy sight, O Yahuwah, let my master, I pray thee, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people. Pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thine inheritance. And he said, Behold, I make a covenant. Before all thy people I will do marvels, such as have not been done in all their rats, nor in any nation, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of Yahuwah, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. This is what we're about to deal with right now. Now, when he says it's going to be a terrible thing, that word is Yarah, and it's something to be revered or to feared or to honor or to respect, an astonishment, to be held in awe and to make you terrified and afraid. But notice what he said. He will make a covenant. Keep in mind that everything before that was about mercy and forgiveness of sins. And now he said he's going to make a covenant and he's going to do marvels. The word marvel is pala, and it's something that is wonderful, surpassing, extraordinary. It is separate by a distinguishing action. It is beyond one's power. It is difficult to do. It is difficult to understand. It is also to separate an offering. To do an extraordinary or hard or difficult thing, and to show oneself marvelous, it also means to do work. So that means that we need to go through this text and we need to look at some marvels, some hard distinguishing things that this man did, and the fact to the means to establishing a covenant. But before we do that, we need to go look at Deuteronomy chapter 10, where he repeats that, because you know Deuteronomy is the rehearsal. And Moses is about to tell us the same thing again. And we're going to read Deuteronomy 10 and 1. That's where we shall begin. And then we will go back into Exodus 34 and we will look at the first marvelous, distinguishing, separate thing that he did and the process of renewing this covenant that the people might be saved and that Yahuwah might be our Elohim and we might be his people. Deuteronomy 10 and 1. At that time Yahuwah said unto me, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first. So there we go again with what we already talked about. And come up unto me in the mount and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write thee on the tables the words which that were in the first tables, which thou break, and thou shalt put them in the ark. Notice that he said he will write on those tables in the second one the same thing that was in the first. So this is why I be tripping when niggas act like there's a difference between these covenants when he told you to end from the beginning. Let's look at Isaiah 46 and 10 if I'm not mistaken. 46 and 10. Because I keep referencing that, so we'll just read it off the page for anybody who's not familiar of where that's located. (46 and 10), but make it verse 8. I'll save verse 7 because it's a word that we ain't hit yet that I'm going to save for tomorrow. On tomorrow, Yahuwah willing. That I was going to do it tonight, but I pushed the marbles up, so because I'm doing them now. Remember this. This is Isaiah 46 and 8. Remember this and show yourselves men and bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. Ain't that something that Yahuwah told you to remember something and to show yourself to be a man? What do men do? Men take responsibility for their actions. Men correct themselves. Men are selfless. Or supposed to be. They're supposed to provide. They're supposed to protect. They're supposed to nurture. They're supposed to cherish. They're supposed to honor. They're supposed to have some sort of ability to teach and direct a household. See, it seems like I've said numerous times before, it seems amongst our people that we choose mates for the waist down and for the most asinine reasons possible. Because we don't choose people for the purpose of building something that is of wisdom and of understanding. This is why he's telling us to show ourselves to be men. It's very rarely in this book where he tell a woman to show herself to be a woman. It's numerous times in this book where Yahuwah tell men to show themselves to be a man. You have to stop messing around and stop being a little boy and stop being immature and to be a stand-up individual and to say what you mean and to mean what you say and to do all things in justice and in equity and in righteousness and in humility. Straight up and down. In faithfulness. In truth and in honor in every single solitary thing that you set your hand to do. Because you got to show yourself a man. That's what David told Solomon. He said, show yourself a man. And being a man is being more than paying some bills, getting on top of a woman and placing your seed in her and she brings forth a child 9 months later. It's part of your character. It's part of your makeup, of everything that you are. And you ought to strive. Now, of course, don't get it wrong, because I know in our communities it ain't a lot of examples of righteous men for one, much less decent men for another. But you have to have an insatiable desire to continually to want to grow and to become better every single day. Do you wake up every day and you're content with the man that you are? Are you not desirous to grow and become a better man every single day in some manner or aspect in your life? Just like this here, right? That's why I tell you like this here, right? There's a statement that say leaders or readers. When the last time you read anything in your, it doesn't even it could be an audio book. It doesn't make a difference. What are you doing every day to make yourself better spiritually, naturally, financially, mentally, emotionally? What are you doing to make yourself better? I mean, the women can include themselves into that part too. But I'm talking to the men specifically. What are you doing to make? Because if the man do right, the woman will follow. Dudes always scream how women won't submit to no man. Why would a woman submit to a man who don't know how to lead? That means he don't know where he going. So that means she don't know where she going. So I'm not going to get in the car with you nigga and ride around in circles for 20 years. Because you ain't got no direction, you ain't got no roadmap, you ain't got no global positioning system to get us where we need to go at. You have no idea what you want to do and how you want to do it. Why would she follow that? But then consequently, some of our women pick men who don't have that and follow that and love every minute of it. Or sit back and complain about it. Well, you need to complain about your own choice. Because you made that choice. 99.9% of the time you could have made a better choice. But you chose to do what was pleasing to your eyes. And what was desirous to your flesh. Which we should again boomerang that and equate that spiritually. Are we going to continually make that same mistake? Because everything is just a correlation spiritually. We just have to use a natural example to get you to catch it and understand and to see it. When are we going to start making better spiritual decisions along those same lines? Because it's your soul. Somebody died just now, and their soul is going to be required because they have nothing to pay for. They have nothing to pay with it for. They don't have his blood. They have nothing to pay. So they got to pay with their own blood. He paid the debt, man. That's good enough for me. I ain't trying to get it taken out of my hide. I'm good on that. That's not a prospect I'm looking forward to. Verse 9 though. Remember the former things of old, for I am Elohim and there is none else. I am Elohim, there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. Them strong words. He said, I'm going to do all my pleasure. Everything I want done is going to be accomplished. And can't nobody stop it. So if he declared the end from the beginning, then we need to go look at that. Exodus 34 and 29. Let's look at the first miracle. The first when I say miracle, the first marvel. The first separated thing that he did. The first difficult thing that he did. To be able to bring forth this covenant into effect. 34 and 29. Exodus. And it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. And Aaron and all the children of Yasharal saw Moses, and behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him. Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the elders, all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him, and Moses talked with them. And afterwards all the children of Yasharal came nigh, and he gave them in commandment all that Yahuwah had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Until Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But when Moses went in before Yahuwah to speak with him, he took the veil off until he came out. And he came out and spake unto the children of Yasharal, which he was commanded. And the children of Yasharal saw the face of Moses, that the skin of his Moses' face shone. Moses put the veil upon his face again until he went in to speak with him. Never has that been done amongst the nation of people. It was a terrible thing which he had done, because the people were terrified and afraid to even speak with the man, because his face shined. But let's look and see why his face would shine. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8. I want to say verse 1. And after Ecclesiastes chapter 8, we're going to skip Matthew 17. Y'all know the man's face was shining when he was standing on the mount. We're aware of that. We know that. But we're going to go to Mark 16. And take a look and take a gander over there. So let's go to Ecclesiastes 8 first. So the first marvel that we see is he calls Moses' face to shine. And after we're going to hit 2 Corinthians 3, obviously. But he called Moses' face to shine. And why? This is why. 8 and 1. Who is the wise man? Who know the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom make his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. Say a man's wisdom, a man's coat, my skill in war causes his face to shine. You know, in the book of Proverbs, it tell you how does king face shine. You see, he had to put the veil on his face to cover these things up. Before we read that Mark 16, I got to hit something else. Exodus chapter 40. Let's look at another marvel. Let me do that there, because I need to do that first. Because then I'll be being redundant. I can just kill it in one fell swoop. Exodus chapter 40. And we'll look at another marvel of which he done. Of course, we're going to tie it into the second half of the book, Yahuwah willing. 40 and 34. Actually, my apologies. 40 and about 31. Well, 30 actually. 40 and 30. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. So there goes that washing again. You get stronger and stronger. When they went into the tent of the congregation, when they came near unto the altar, they washed as Yahuwah commanded Moses. And he reared up the court around about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging court of the gate. So Moses finished the work. So when they reared up, and that word for reared up is one of the words that we're going to be looking at, y'all willing, on tomorrow. When he tell you that he reared that up, that's NASA. And you know that's the lift in the, that's Quam. I'm thinking about another word. NASA is a little further down, I believe. Which is to rise. To stand up and arise. To maintain oneself, or to establish and confirm, or to ratify. Why is that important? When we go back looking at what he did with Yahushua, of rearing up the court around that tabernacle and that altar, and to set up the hanging of the court gate to finish the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the steam of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle. Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the steam of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle. When the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Yasharal went onward in all their journeys. But the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahuwah was upon the tabernacle by day, and the fire was on it by night, and the sight of all the house of Yasharal and all their journeys. Now when we look at the word cloud, It is a word called anon, and you get the aleph, and the ayin and the noon. So when we look at the ayin and the noon, of course you got the seed. You get to with that cloud, you're experiencing the seed. To see or experience the seed with that cloud. When that cloud came and that esteem of Yahuwah filled that tabernacle, they got to see and experience the set apart seed, or see or experience Yahuwah. And that was another thing that had never been done. And this is again going to take us back in the second half of the book. Because Yahushua rose up, or was ratified or established and confirmed for you to be able to see and experience that set apart seed. This is another reason why he had to manifest the Son openly. See, they also got a chance to see and experience the seed with Moses' face shining. But let's go to Mark 16 now. So if we look at the cloud of Elohim, and we probably rarely did sit back and think about it, they literally experienced and seen Elohim to a certain extent. If you can see Yahushua, remember, who have believed our report? To whom is the arm of Yahuwah revealed? So if you experience something, that means you partake in it. You're a part of it. You go do something for the experience. That means you exercise yourself in a particular activity. So if you want to experience the Ruach HaKodesh, if you want to experience the seed, if you want to experience the life, then you have to partake in it. Because notice what it said, that when Yahuwah filled the tabernacle, it was after Moses finished the work. So when you read Revelation 14 and 13, it says, saith the Ruach Baruch to those who die in Yahuwah from henceforth, and their works do follow them. Because you have experienced the seed. It will follow you because you finished the work. You can experience Elohim. Because Yahushua finished the work. We already read that in John 17. He said, I finished the work which thou gave me to do. Now the people were getting ready to see and experience a marvelous act in seeing Elohim. Mark chapter 16. After Mark 16, we'll swing to 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and then to Matthew 27. We finna knock the face shining in the cloud at one fell swoop. To sit back and see how we need to understand that we want to experience Elohim. Where's the verse that I desire? There we go. 16 and 7 is good. But go your way and tell the disciples and Peter that he go before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him as he said unto you. And he went out quickly and fled from the sepulchre, for they trembled and were amazed. Neither said there anything to any man, for they were afraid. You know why they're amazed? Because there's never been any such thing as this. A man resurrecting from the dead, who's been dead for 3 days, who has seen such a thing. Him rising in this instance is the ratifying of the covenant. Because he told you he's going to make a covenant with you. But when he make this covenant with you, he say, I'm going to do marvels that have never been seen or done amongst any people. So you can know that I am Yahuwah. See, he did it when he ratified the first covenant. He did marvels. It had never been seen that a people went without light for 3 days. It had never been seen that water got turned to blood, or that they had locusts attack their crops, or that their firstborn sons and cattle or beasts were destroyed. He worked marvels then before he established the covenant. So then he turned around and say, on the second go around, because you broke my first one, I'm going to do it again. And then when Yahushua came, he came and did it again. So if you see these marvels, why do you not respect, honor, revere, and possess godly fear for this man if you say this is what you believe? Because that's what these marvels were supposed to produce. A godly fear. A reverence, an honor, and a respect for him. Which goes back to why I kept referencing earlier about you got 144 hours in a week and you can't even respect this man for his 24. That's the level of respect you'll have. Saying, shoot, man, Pops ain't even asking but for 24 hours, man. Sit back and look at it. A Christian ain't got to give up nothing but 2 hours. 3 tops. He got the rest of his day after that. And whatever he did before he got there. A Muslim with their Jumu'ah, they only got all these other quote-unquote religions. They just have a time block where they go serve. And then after that, they can go do what they want to do. Yahuwah said, let me get the whole 24. I gave you 6. I gave you 144. I gave you that. I gave you, all I want is a 7th of the week, baby. Just a 7th. That's all I need. For you to be solely resting and regenerating in me. Do you not recall and remember that in the 31st chapter of Exodus, he said that this man rested on the Sabbath day and he was refreshed? And you're supposed to remember that this is pointing to you with Yahushua when he was made like unto the first table of stones, because he was refreshed. He was regenerated. He was made new. He was made like he was in the beginning. Everlasting life. That's what you're supposed to remember. You done forgot what you came for. Because you just thought it was a day I ain't got to go to work today. I can't do this today. Oh, I got to sit back and hear this nigga preach the word today. When you supposed to sat back and realized I'm supposed to be resurrecting I'm resting from my labors, knowing that when the sun come up on the first day, it's representative of Yahushua getting up and being made like unto that first table of stone. That this covenant has been renewed. And I can walk in newness of life, because as he sacrificed himself and destroyed the body of sin to be quickened unto righteousness, I do the same. And I'm reminded of it every week. And I rest in my Elohim every week as Yahushua rested in Abba on that particular week for the salvation of many. And consequently, the damnation of many. But because I was sanctified unto salvation from the beginning by the Ruach and belief of the truth, that has no factor for me. Because I have a love for the truth. Because I have a love for the faith. Because I have a love for Elohim. Therefore, because I love him and respect and honor my Father, I consistently and constantly, restrictively obey everything that he dictates and mandates, because I know that there's a goal to receive at the end, and that is the goal of everlasting life, of which I want more than the air that I breathe, more than the water that I drink. Job told you I esteem his word more than my necessary food. I obsess over it. I desire it. I want it more than anything, period. I want it more than money. I want it more than marriage. I want it more than kids. I want it more than status. Because what greater status it is to have your name written in heaven? What greater status is that? What greater riches is that? Your name written in heaven. When the books are open, what would the greater thing to ever have occurred than to say like what happened to Daniel? Oh man, greatly beloved. Whether if he was to send a Malachim to you and had that Malachim tell you that or not. Do you know how humbling of a thing and what a massive experience that would be to know that the living Elohim, that's how he views you? That you are someone who is greatly beloved in his eyesight? Daniel was greatly beloved because of his faithfulness to Elohim. His faithfulness to Elohim led him to face sure death in certain situations and remain loyal to his God. This is why me and we sit back and we do not judge righteously and justly and determining in righteous godly characters in men or women. And the same way we overlook that, the same way we overlook Yahushua. We can't continue to overlook godliness to justify ungodliness and hypocrisy. If a nigga wicked, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? May Yahuwah have mercy upon their soul and give them a heart to change and repent. But truth be told, I can't get this nigga to repent if he don't want to. You can't get nobody to do nothing that they don't want to do. They don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. And if they do, and if they don't want to do it, but they pretending like they want to do it, they're going to halfway do it. They're going to be 50% butt crack with it. And at that point, why do it? If you're going to go halfway in anything, don't even do it. If you're not going to give every ounce that you have in anything that you do, don't even do it. If you're not going to give every bit of yourself to your God, don't even serve him. Just go live your life. If you're not going to give 100% to a woman or a man, don't even get married. If you're not going to give 100% to your children, keep your penis in your pants and your legs closed. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you're not going to give 100% to your business, go get a job. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be somebody's friend and you're not going to give 100% to be their friend, leave people alone. You know what I'm saying? Just be over there to yourself. You got to give everything you got. You got to be fully dedicated to it. That's our problem in life, period. I'm talking about all of us. People, period. Black people specifically. We don't give 100%. And then get upset when we get 25% result. But you only put in 25%. So what did you think you was going to get out of it? You got to put in 100 to get 100. Put in 150, you get 150. So if you want eternal life, how much are you putting in to get it? Nevertheless. Now when Yahushua was risen early the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he cast 7 devils. She went and told them that he had been with them as they mourned and wept. And when they had heard that he was alive, and he had been seen of her, believed not. After that he appeared in another form unto 2 of them, as they walked and went into the country. And they went and told it unto the residue, and neither believed they them. See, I came there to read that because it said he appeared to them in another form. In another form. See, remember, only reason I read that one there because we didn't hit Luke 24 already this week and last week. Remember Luke 24, it said when they seen him, they thought they seen a Ruach. You know, Malachim shines just the same way as Elohim shines. Because Yahushua told you he is the light. Let's look at it. John 7:7. He the light of the world. So his face going to shine just like Moses' face is going to shine. Because there's life in him. In him was light, and the light was the life of men. This is why Moses was shining, because life was inside of him. But it wasn't time for him to impart everlasting life unto the people at that time. It was meant for someone else to do. But it was a shadow of things that were to come. So now light has been revealed unto all men. After we read the John 7:7, I get Colossians where he quote that, and we're just going to read that verse. I got to keep it motoring. It's 10:32. We got more marvels to hit. Some we have to paraphrase because we don't went over them before in the past. It's 7:7. No, it's 8 and 12. This is 6 and 12. No, it isn't this one, man. It is 8 and 12. 8 and 12. 8 and 12. Listen what he tell you. Just 8 and 12. That's all we want. Then spake Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that follow me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Now again, he noticed that he kept numerous times Mashiach spoke about people following him. And again, that goes back. People want to be, say, they leaders or they're alphas and all this type of stuff. But a leader doesn't have to cajole anyone to follow them. They show them the framework and the vision of what they got going on. They make an offer and invitation. And sometimes the people follow based off what they see. But see, he sat back and he gave them action behind what he was asking them to follow. He said, take up your stake daily and follow me. Yahushua took up his stake daily. So when he was asking you to take up his stake, he was standing right next to you with his. So you could look at that and say, I would listen to the audiobook I told you about. They talked about the CEO of Costco. Say this man only takes a $350,000 salary. Say he makes it his business to visit every store at least once in the year. He answers his own phones. He greets and speaks to every employee in the office. They said even when One of his employees had a heart attack. He went to the hospital to see him. Say the employee wasn't shocked that he came to see him because it was consistent with his pattern of behavior. But then the CEO of Costco stated something of which I learned and seen, and I agree with myself. And I had this conversation with somebody before I started listening to this book. A lot of companies have a high turnover rate. Most of these companies have a high turnover rate because they care nothing about their employees. They don't care how they treat them, and they don't care how they pay them. I had learned before I even heard this man say this, that if you compensate people well, they will stay working for you. They'll end up, if you add value to your employees and you actually care about them and you come and see about them, you won't have that high turnover rate. Because they will want to stay there because they know that the head of the organization cares about them. So when we turn around and we look at our Elohim, and we talked about how, Yahushua's CEO, we didn't talk about that before. He is the head of the organization. The head of the organization was slain from the foundation of the world. The head of the organization humbled himself and became a man. Then in the process of doing that, he served his own creation. And he served his own creation unto death. He comforted his creation. He was concerned with his creation. He sought out the lost of his creation. He told his creation, I didn't come to save the righteous, but I came to save sinners. When those who were proud in heart looked down upon the sinners, he rebuked them and said, he that loved much, much is forgiven, and he that loveth little, little is forgiven. He offered his own body up on the tree in service to his organization. In turn, in doing so, because it would engender his organization to not only follow his example, but to be completely loyal to him, because they knew the head of their organization would not only tell them to do something, but would do it with them. As it says in Hebrews, he was tempted like in all points as we are, yet without sin. Because it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he may be a merciful and faithful high priest and the reconciliation of sins. You have to sit back and look at the head of your organization and the value and the service of which he exhibited to the organization of which he leads. This is what he was willing to do. And we still won't follow him with our whole heart and whole mind and whole soul. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. Ought to be thoroughly ashamed of ourselves. When we look at it in that context and in that factor, we ought to be ashamed. Because what better leader is there than that? You can't get no better than that. I can't see it. I've never seen it in 37 years of living. You can't get no better leader than that. He taught you by word and deed. He gave you the example, indeed. But more important, this man say, I'm your Lord and Master, and I will wash your feet. And he said, if you won't let me wash your feet, you don't have no part with me, bruh. You're not a part of me. He said, if I, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. Blessed are ye if you do this. He told you, if you can serve one another, then you'll be blessed, because I came and served you, and I'm your king. I'm your God. I'm your master, and I came and served you. I'm setting the example of leadership that should be executed and exhibited. This is why we've been dealing with that with men. With men, you're supposed to serve. You're supposed to serve your wife. You're supposed to serve your children. It's not about you. That's the mind of Mashiach. It's not about you. Because we can't tell the woman she's supposed to submit and to serve and then neglect the fact that you're supposed to do the same thing. You're supposed to serve one another. If you as a woman could sit back and say, I have a man who will serve my God first and then me in the order of godliness, you're not going to throw that away. You're going to hold on to that. And if you don't desire that, there's something mentally wrong with you. Because I look at everything in the aspect of this here, you rejecting your God. That's what I meant to mention when niggas like, oh, you can't listen to nobody but your husband.
So if y'all son of man to give your wife a word and she reject him, she didn't reject that man. She rejected Elohim. He said, he that receiveth me, receiveth him that sent me. That's what you have to realize. I had a conversation with a woman years ago. I don't want this right here. You believe God sent it to you. So you think he gonna send you somebody else? No, you only gonna get the one he sent before. You don't get to judge. You don't get to frame up and to write up to tell God exactly what you want him to send. He gonna send you what he want to send. See, they didn't get another Mashiach. He sent one. They didn't want it. I ain't giving you another one. You don't get another one. You don't get another one tailored to your liking. You're going to get the one that I sent. He said, I send pastors according to my heart that will feed you with knowledge and understanding. I send what I want to send. You reject it just like he told them with Saul them. When they were asking with Samuel, they didn't reject you, they rejected me. See, that's the part we don't understand. If somebody's something from Yahuwah, you're not rejecting that person. You're rejecting Yahuwah. You telling what Yahuwah had to offer wasn't good enough. And you just thought you were. That's why Paul said, he that despiseth not man, but Elohim. Because he has given unto us his Ruach HaKodesh. See, we don't consider that. You'll read John 13-20 when he say, whomsoever I send receiveth me, and whosoever receive me, receive him that sent me. You got to realize that if y'all son him and you reject him, you rejected y'all, you don't get another one. See, y'all don't operate on that. You reject me 2-3 times. See, y'all ain't begging nobody. He's a man, a secure man. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I know the service and what I offer and what value I bring to mankind. Shoot, reject me if you want to. I'm going to be good regardless. You need me. I don't need you. We need Yah. He don't need us. Y'all got to understand that. He made us, so he don't have a need for us. We have a need for him. And it's your desire. How much do you need him? Do you yearn for him? Does your soul ache for him? Does your spirit cry out for him? Because if it did, it would transform your behavior and your thoughts. Nevertheless, I'll wait on 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Come on back over here to the law. We're going straight to the book of Numbers. Make a pit stop in the 17th chapter. Just a little pit stop. 17:1. Little pit stop. These little children stole my water. No, there they go. Numbers. You will speak unto Moses, saying, speak of the children of Yasharal, and take every one of them a rod, according to the house of their fathers, of all their princes, according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods. Write thou every man's name upon his rod. Thou shalt write Aaron's name upon the rod of Levi. For one rod shall be for the head of the house of their fathers. Thou shalt lay them up in the tabernacle of the congregation before the testimony, where I will meet with you. And it shall come to pass that the man's rod whom I shall choose shall blossom, and I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Yasharal, whereby they murmur against me. Moses spake unto the children of Yasharal, every one of their princes gave him a rod apiece, for each prince one, according to their father's house, even 12 rods. And the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Moses laid up the rods before Yahuwah in the tabernacle of the witness. And it came to pass, oh yeah, I did skip over something, my apologies. That on the morrow Moses went into the but it still worked, praise the Lamb. Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi was budded, and brought forth buds, and bloomed blossoms, and yielded almonds. Moses brought out all the rods from before Yahuwah unto the children of Yasharal, and they looked and took every man his rod. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony to be kept for a token against the rebels. So he said you got to bring the rod before the testimony. It's got to be kept as a token. Let's look what it is when he said he going to keep this as a token. As a token. Because you know our people, some hard-headed people. They were around there murmuring, running their mouth, talking trash. Always got something to say against Yahuwah. Every time something, and that's what people problem is. Every time something don't go the way you want it to go, it's Yahuwah's fault. People always want to blame God because it's easier that way. It's the wickedness of man. And it's often, that's a distinguishing mark or a miraculous sign, a banner, an insider, standard, or proof. We need some proof. It's going to be some proof. Nevertheless. And Moses brought out all the rods from before Yahuwah unto the children of Yasharal. They looked and took every man his rod. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, brings Aaron's rod again before the testimony to be kept for a token against the rebels. And thou shalt quite take away their murmurings from me, that they die not. Moses did so as Yahuwah commanded him, so did he. And the children of Yasharal spake unto Moses, saying, behold, we die, we perish, we all perish. Whosoever come anything near unto the tabernacle of Yahuwah shall die. Shall we be consumed with dying? Now notice that Yahuwah said this rod was so that the people didn't die. Again, if you sit back and you look at we looking at the covenant in Exodus 34, it was about him forgiving sins. So that the people said the people were stiff-necked, take us for our inheritance. Pardon our iniquity. We talk about this. A supportive teaching of separation. Support us with the teaching that will cause us to separate ourselves from our iniquities. That we be turned. But he said, take this rod and lay it up for a token, so that we don't die in our sins. Pretty much is what has just been told. But let's look at this other thing in Matthew 27, because there's 2 points that we had to hit in Matthew 27, and I skipped that. But we're going to look at Aaron's rod budding in Matthew 27 in the same swoop. So really we're going to knock out 3 things. And then we'll go to Hebrews chapter 7. So we don't look at 2 marvels, because nothing like that's ever been done. Just like we see nobody's faces ever shine like that. That's never been done. And then we see Yahushua recreating that. But then we got to sit back and look at the esteem or experience in the seed and how that covered up the tabernacle after the house was reared up. Well, we know the house was reared up or lifted up or ratified, or like this here, when the work was completed, when Yahushua was sacrificed. Before we read Matthew 27, let's just read that John 17 where he say that I finished the work. We just want to read that part where he say that I finished the work which you gave me to do. Let's just read that verse real quickly. Verse 4. We read it already, but we want to revisit it. John 17:4. I have esteemed thee on the earth, and I have finished the work which thou gave me to do. And now, O Abba, esteem thou me with thy own self, with the esteem which I had with thee before the world was. Notice that when Moses finished the work which he did in the rearing of the tabernacle, that the esteem of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle once the work was completed. Yahushua has asked for this. Remember, because if you don't believe Moses' writings, how shall you believe my words? How are you going to be able to even believe his words? Because his words are going to teach you what you ought to do. Now, taking this point again, to the cloud will cause you to experience the seed. Let's look at the cloud experiencing the seed. Matthew 27. And remember, key point in Exodus 34. He said the name. I'm going to read that Exodus 34 again with that one part, right? Because this is going to make this statement, what we're about to read in Matthew, even more relevant. And that's Exodus 34:10. This man said, clear as day, that has not been done in the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of Yahuwah. So all the people that are among you, they gonna see it. I said 1 Corinthians 2 earlier too, and we ain't got that yet, but we'll get it in a minute. Matthew chapter 27. We picked that up at about Verse 44, I should say. We could read 42 though. He said he saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the Malach of Yasharal, let him come down from the stake and we will believe him. Notice that they are murmuring. He trusted in Elohim, let him deliver him now, if he will have him, for he said, I am the son of Elohim. The thieves also which were crucified with him cast the same in his teeth. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And there goes the cloud over the tabernacle. And now you can experience the seed. You can see and experience the seed. And about the 9th hour Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, that is to say, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of them that stood there when they heard that said, this man called for Elijah. Straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. And the rest said, let us see whether Elijah come to save him. And Yahushua, when he cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the Ruach. So now he's finished the work. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. So now we can also see the veil is removed, just like we see the veil removed with Moses. But look at the next thing. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the Kadeshim which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the Kadesh city, and appeared unto many. Remember, right? John 15, right? Mashiach said that he is the vine, and we are the branches. And whoever abide in him will bring forth much fruit, because he will purge it. So he'll cause it to bud. And now you see that he is the broad, he's that same rod. And now these men are resurrecting from the dead after his resurrection, showing forth that he is bringing forth fruit, or he's Aaron's rod that budded. And now he's done a work which has not been done amongst any nation at any time in the making of this covenant. The same token why we looked at him being in another form and referencing Luke 24 when they thought they seen a Ruach, because that was the making of that covenant of where he did a marvel which had never been done amongst anybody, and all the people among you would see it. And look at what verse 54 says. And when the centurion and they that were with him watching Yahushua saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, truly, this was the son of Elohim. And many women there beholding afar off, which followed Yahushua from Galilee, ministering unto him, and among which was Mary Magdalene, and the mother of Mary, and Mary the mother of James, and Joses, and the mother of Zebedee's children. So the nation that was among you, or the people that was among you, they seen this marvelous work. And they say, truly, that is the son of Allah. They acknowledge the making of the renewal of this covenant, even in themselves, by watching what occurred. Because even with him making it go dark with that cloud, he was hitting them all. He said, esteem me with the esteem I had before the world was. And what do you do? It's another reason why he made it go dark. Because he got to do what Exodus 40 talking about with rearing it up. I got to do these marvels to make this covenant sure, to ratify it, so that my people could get eternal life. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 though. I got enough time to hit another. Because we started a little late. I intended on start a little earlier, but I didn't do it. Just didn't do it. 2 and 6. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of Elohim in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which Elohim ordained before the world under our esteem. Notice how he said that hidden wisdom was ordained from the beginning. Now how he said make one like unto the first, like the one at the beginning. Because at the end of the day, he wanted to make us like how Yahushua was at the beginning. Yahushua showed his leadership by humbling himself and becoming of a lower estate than what he was at the beginning, so we could be made like unto him. We can't forget what we came for. You came for eternal life in the Ruach HaKodesh. That's what you came for. Anything, he says, seek ye the kingdom of Elohim, and all these things will be added unto you. So if all those things will be added unto you, and he was referring to natural things, so that's whether that's financial security, and financial security is relative to each individual.
Financial security doesn't necessarily mean an exorbitant amount of money. Financial security just means no concerns or worries about your bills or your necessities. But nevertheless, like we read with Paul, Paul said, I've learned to whether to be content, whether to be I be abound or abased. Whether I suffer need or I abound. I've learned to do both simultaneously. Neither nevertheless of which situation that I find myself in that present time. So we also have to learn to be content with things we have, whether we have a lot or whether we have a little. But he said those things will be added unto you. Your clothes, your food, your shelter, that'll be added unto you. If he's ordained for you to have a mate, that'll be added unto you. If he's ordained for you to have children, that'll be added onto you. But your number one objective is you're supposed to be seeking the kingdom of Elohim first. Because you got to look at the key point. If you seeking the kingdom first and that be added on to you, that means whatever gets added on, if you know in the sincerity of your heart that you seeking Elohim, then you know whatever got added on to you or whoever got added on to you, you would know who it came from. You would know who sent it. You would know who sent them. Because he's a man of his word. You think you're going to be seeking the kingdom of Elohim, he's going to send you sinners to deal with? You think he's going to give you sinner friends? And a sinner who's interested in you? You think that's what he's going to do? That's the dumbest thing ever. You seeking me, so I'm going to give you some sinner friends to kick it with. No, he's going to give you righteous people who are seeking him for you to be around. He's going to give you a righteous mate. That man told you in the book of Samuel that he could take a man from a dunghill and sit him among kings. It's nothing to have, man, a man can be dead poor on Tuesday and be a rich man on Thursday if y'all want him to. Shoot, he could be a rich man the same day if that's what he want to do. There's nothing too hard for him. I think we neglect to remember that. If it is nothing for this man to make a man from the dust of the ground twice, ain't nothing too hard for this man. Because he made man from the dust of the ground twice. A natural man and a spiritual man. He did it twice. It ain't nothing this man can't do. It's absolutely nothing this man can't do. Nothing. You got to keep that in your brain. Ain't nothing this man can't do. This man can do what he want, when he want, how he want, whenever he want. Verse 7. But we speak the wisdom of Elohim in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which Elohim ordained before the world under our esteem, which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they had known it, they would have not crucified the master of esteem. See, if they would have known it, they wouldn't have killed him. They wouldn't have killed him. But they had to do it in order to fulfill that law. Because they had to stand there in fear. They feared when they seen that earthquake. They feared when they seen all the things that occurred. When they seen that cloud fill that tabernacle up, they feared that. They feared that, as they should have. As we should. As we should. Just because, remember what he said, blessed are your eyes that have seen, but even more blessed are those who have seen, yet have believed. Nevertheless, another miracle that we shall take a look at. I believe that's Numbers 21. and 4. And they journeyed from the Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. And the soul of the people were much discouraged because of the way. Moses spake, and the people spake against Elohim and against Moses. Wherefore have you brought us up out of Mizraim to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loathed this light bread. Yahuwah sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Yasharal died. We still got to get that Hebrew 7. I'm finna get to it. Remember, he said he left that rod as a token.
He left it as a token that the people might not die in their sins. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahuwah and against thee. Pray unto Yahuwah that he take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. Yahuwah said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he look upon it, shall live. Moses made a serpent of brass and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Let's take us back to what we looked at in Isaiah 33 Wednesday. Let's look at it again. He said, if anybody look upon this serpent, anybody, they gonna live. You've been bit by a fiery serpent. We done dealt with the fiery serpent before, so we'll paraphrase. We know that the devil, Hashatan, is called a serpent. Sin bites you all the time and you die. Remember what Paul said in Romans 7? Sin deceived me, and by it deceiving me, it slew me. See, they were deceived because they were we ain't got no bread, ain't got no water. We hungry. They got discouraged because they thought the way of salvation was hard. But he told you that you through much tribulation you must enter into the kingdom of Elohim. These, like I said, they have no root in themselves. So when persecution or tribulation arise by the word by and by, they are offended. These people were offended. It's too hard. Why I gotta deal with this? Sit your weak behind down somewhere, nigga. I was thinking about something the other day, right? I seen something where people were talking about how some people smile and they really don't be happy. They give off a sense of being happy, but they're really not happy. And I've seen that in my lifetime, people who hide pain behind smiles. Those smiles are not smiles of joy. They're really not happy inwardly, but they give a projection of it. You have some people who are serious demeanors, stern, that probably might be some of the happiest people you've ever encountered. They may not walking around smiling, but the joy of Elohim is prevalent in them, and you can see that in them because they seek to make other people smile and be happy when they're around them. And I just noticed this from being in the street. If a nigga see you laughing all the time, niggas think you weak or you soft or something. Like, what you laughing for? What you smiling for? It ain't funny out here. Ain't nothing sweet out here. But we can understand the seriousness of which we dwell and the pain of which we are a part of. But yet still, this is one of the reasons why niggas rank and crack jokes all the time. Because you're trying to find some manner of laughter and joy in the midst of a painful situation. You know what I'm saying? You don't see other races of people crack jokes and clown on each other like black people, because there's something that you have to do to be able to maintain, to deal with the pain that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, to struggle so niggas can stay smiling, keep a smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? Try to stay happy in the midst of so much misery and oppression and poverty and killing and whatever else that individuals may have to deal with, because every black person don't deal with the same things. You know what I'm saying? But yet they dealing with suffering nonetheless. But anybody who has the joy of Elohim in them, it's a different type of thing. Even in the midst of adversity, they can still find a reason to laugh and to smile and to be joyous in their Elohim. In the midst of adversity, Yahushua went and sung a hymn. See, that's the hallmark of the joy, because it's easy to be joyful when everything is good. But can you be joyful in the midst of adversity? Because adversity is when a man's mettle is tested. That's when you can see the character of a man is in adversity. That's when you can really see what type of man you're dealing with. When he's faced with adversity, how does he react? How does he respond? Does he fold? Does he keep a positive outlook? When he has every reason to quit and fold up, does he keep going? Does he find a reason to smile when he got a million reasons to shed tears? But most importantly, above all of that, will he compromise his moral standards and conduct because he's faced with some manner of adversity? Will he compromise who he is and what he stands for in the midst of adversity? And if you can see a man stand tall for what he believes in and what he professes and what he's about in the midst of adversity, then you have met yourself a strong man. Or a woman for that matter. Because it's mutual. And that's what we seen with Yahusha. In the midst of adversity, did he crumple? Did he fold? Did he go back on the word? Did he compromise? He did not. He stood firm in the midst of adversity and remained joyful into his Elohim all the way into the end. All the way to his last breath. Father, in thy hands I commend my Ruach. All the way to his last breath. Father, forgive him. Even in his last breath, he was serving. He sought the welfare of others before the welfare of himself. This is a man whom you would want to follow. Because he's giving you a pattern and a vision, which is plain and very easy to attain. But the desire and the will to attain it must be present. Where was I going? Oh, Isaiah 33. Is it 33? Yes, it is. I'm just tripping. Forgive me. Isaiah 33 and 20. Say, look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. If you remember, solemnities is Moab. That's an appointed time. Passover. Thy eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, the tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed. Neither shall there any of the cords thereof be broken. No nails or pegs will ever be taken out. We go to verse 23. Thy tacklings are loosed. They could not well strengthen their mass. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of great spoil divided. The lame take the prey. And the inhabitants shall not say, I am sick. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven their iniquity. So we got a serpent on a pole. Yahusha told you in John 3:14, so the same way that Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man be lifted up. Because Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son that you might be healed from your sins. So this is a marvelous thing which had never been done. Fiery serpents have bit the people and they died. But he said, you make this serpent, every single solitary individual that looks upon it will look and live. Remember what we looked in Zechariah 12 when they say you'll look upon him whom they have pierced? Or what about Isaiah 45 and 22 when he say, look unto me all ye ends of the earth and be ye saved. Hebrews 7 and 20. And what does that take you back to? That cloud. The ayin and that noon. See. Experience the seed. And if the cloud is symbolic of the esteem of the tabernacle, the esteem of Elohim coming upon the tabernacle, then that should sit back and tell you that you need to be able to seek, to be able to experience the seed. Seek the Ruach HaKodesh so you can experience Elohim. Because I can tell you it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. And it should cause your whole outlook on life to drastically be altered. Because you'll see everything through the vision and prism of God and not yourself. There are many things, many temptations that can be presented to me on a day-to-day basis in many different forms. But I'm always going to look at everything through the prism of my God and not myself. That is the only way that I'll be successful in the searching of eternal life. And every temptation that you face ain't necessarily be the temptation of sin. It's the temptation of going after what your flesh will deem to be correct at that moment in time. But you will always go after what is just and right before your God, because your loyalty is to him. Your honor and your reverence and respect is to him. Your love is to him. That's how we have to get to. That's what our minds need to shift to, which is the mind of Mashiach, which is the mind of Yahusha, which is the mind of Elohim. How many desire to have that mind is the question. (7 and 20) might be a little too high.
we go ahead and pick it up at 23. Remember, Aaron's rod that budded that had to go in the tabernacle of the witness, so the people don't die in their sins. Yahusha is that rod. You know he went back into Shamayim. And they truly were many priests because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death. Remember that rod had whose name on it? Aaron's name. The high priest. A memorial. But this man, because he continued ever, have an unchangeable priesthood. Wherefore he is able also to save them to the uttermost that come under Elohim by him, seeing he ever lived to make intercession for them. For such a high priest become us, who was Kadesh, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than Shamayim, who need not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice, first for his own sins, then for the people. This he did once when he offered up himself. For the Torah make men high priests which have infirmity, but the word of oath which was since the Torah make the Son who was consecrated forevermore. Now we do have a couple more. No, I think that was about it. I think I might have had one more example, but I think that we could call it a day with that one particular example. Oh yeah, 2 Corinthians 3. So when we look at the marvel that he did, what are the marvels that we looked at? The only one we didn't look at was him making the water come out the rock. And numbers that I had. But you looked at the fiery serpent on the brass pole. You look at Aaron's rod that budded. You looked at the cloud covering the tabernacle. Before we read 2 Corinthians 3, let's go to Isaiah chapter 4. And you looked at Moses' face shining. All of these were marvelous things that correlated to a work that Yahushua completed himself, and the bringing in of the covenant to renew it the same way that we've seen these works being done to bring in the covenant to renew it. There was one other miracle also that we just didn't hit, and that was the sending down of the quails. And what transpired after that? Men dying for speaking against Yahuwah. So many people murmur and complain against God. It's ridiculous. But I will say this here, right? Because I know I've mentioned to y'all. You know, a lot of people say God sent them to people, and God sent them this, that, there, and the third. So I know some people be like, how I know if God sent somebody or not, and this, that, there, and the third. One thing for certain and two things for sure. Anybody God send is going to actually be a practitioner and a believer of his word, first and foremost. And see, I ain't talking about how somebody say, I got a word of prophecy for you, and all this, that, there, and the third. Somebody who Yah sent unto you is going to lead you in the way of righteousness, in the way of Kadash. They're going to seek to do things that strengthen your faith and steer you and point you to your God, that your faith don't stand in the wisdom of men but the power of Elohim. Period. Mashiach said plain as day, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man do his will, you would know if he sent me or not. That's pretty much what he told him. He said, whoever seek the esteem of him that sent him, the same is true, and there's no unrighteousness in him. But Mashiach said clear as day. Yahushua said clear as day. The son of Elohim said clear as day. And Baruch be he, that if you do his will, you'll know if Yah sent me or not. See, niggas be around here don't know who Yah sent because they ain't doing his will. So how could they know? Because if you're doing his will, someone who has been son of Elohim is very easy and distinguishable to recognize. Very easy to recognize. It's not that difficult. If you are doing his will, you can be able to tell that man is from God. That woman is from Yah. How do you know? Because I'm doing his will, and I can see that clear as day because they're doing his will. So that's how I know. Doing his will is not telling people you an Israelite. That is not doing his will.
Nowhere in this book did he tell you to do that. Niggas always scream you gotta wake people up. He told you to wake up from death and sin, nigga. You ain't waking nobody up by telling it. That's the most dumbest thing. That's a doctrine of men. You pull that out your butthole. You don't have no text for that. So you're supposed to be waking up people from death, from sin, from destruction, from degradation, from damnation, through disobedience and unbelief. Pointing them back to their Elohim. If you do his will, you'll know who's from Yah or not. Because you know over time it's going to show. It's a lot of niggas say they are Yah, but they ain't doing his will. So how, nigga? You's a flodger and a pump faker. You ought to burn. Not burn for your behavior, but burn for your hypocrisy and your blasphemous proclamations of a just and clean and purified name such as Yahuwah's. Keep his name out your mouth. Again, I reiterate, I don't even appreciate these niggas' participation. Because I know my Elohim don't appreciate their participation. See, we don't hold nothing against people who don't know. But don't be pump faking like you just and righteous and upright and such an ardent and staunch believer. But when nobody's watching, who will be able to rebuke you, who have no... See, when I say nobody's watching, meaning people who know what you profess. See, when you go out in the world and you deal with the people you deal with, see, they don't know you say you're a Yahudim. See, they don't know you say you serve. They don't know nothing about that. Unless you sit down and have... They don't know nothing about that. So niggas feel free to be the wicked nigga that they are when they're around sinners. I'm comfortable now. I'm in my element. I'm with my people. But when they get back around the people who supposed to serve the word, now they just and pious. And we know with the internet, a nigga could be whatever they want to be. But no, nigga. We know you niggas in real life. So if you say you a Yahudim, then you a Yahudim irregardless of who you around. And who you dealing with. And what they talking about. Niggas adhering to sinners because you want to adhere to you. How do you want to please a transgressor? I don't understand that. When the book says, how can you love them that hate Yah? How do we move and have such a strong desire to please transgressors? Why do you care what they think? Why do you care what they say? Why are you so enamored to please them? When it comes to compromising something you stand for. To even coming close to compromise. That's what I'm talking about. There's nothing wrong if you want to please your people. Make them happy on things that don't have nothing to do with you compromising what you stand for. No, ain't nothing wrong if your grandma say, you'll make me a birthday cake for my birthday. I really appreciate it. You know, I want to go over here for some. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's not what we talking about. It is something if they ask you to do something that cause you to compromise Kadeshness. That's a problem. Nigga, who do you think you are? That you could even ask me to do something like that. That you would even think I would consider it. I told you, that's why I ain't got no friends. Because them niggas know I'm not finna do none of that. And niggas just respect it. Niggas just respect it. So they just stop asking. They don't call. You get isolated. I just told the dude that the other day. He thought I was playing. I don't have no dealings outside of y'all. So that means that 99.9% of the time, unless I'm with y'all, I'm by myself. That's why I would trick nigga like, what you be doing? Not, nigga, I don't have no friends, nigga. Nigga like this here, right? And it was something you had mentioned too, Will, about we were talking about how niggas say they Uber and these niggas around here pulling niggas' penis out and doing all this freaky stuff. And a woman tried to flirt with me last Sunday. But she could tell by my demeanor. She just stopped. I wasn't trying to be standoffish. That nigga could just tell. Let me stop right now. Because clearly this nigga is not about to feed or entertain nothing I got going on. Because I'm not. I'm not even giving off the vibe or impression that you could feel comfortable enough that this could escalate anywhere, at any point, at any time. I'm not studying nothing what you got going on. Because truly, any woman who don't serve the living God is not attractive to me in the least bit. That's not even going to turn a nigga's head. It's not going to engender anything. I don't even care to have friends who I would be on a regular basis that continually disobey and flaunt and disrespect. I don't want to be around that on a regular basis. I don't have a desire for it. I almost got 10 years. If you've been doing something long enough, you should be fully dedicated and immersed in it. And we got to remember what we came for. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, man, so I can let y'all slide on up out of here. 3 and 10. For even that which was made esteem had no esteem in this respect by the reason of the esteem that excelled. For if that which is done away was esteemed, much more that which remained is esteemed. Because you got to remember the first covenant was done away. That's why he was making a new one. Seeing then we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. And not as Moses, which had put a veil over his face, that the children of Yasharal could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished, but that their minds were blinded, for until this day remain the same veil untaken away in the reading of the old covenant, which veil is done away in Mashiach. But even unto this day when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the master, the veil shall be taken away. And why is that important? Because you notice when Moses went to Yahuwah, when his face was shining, the veil was taken away because he turned to Yah. But when he went back to the people, he had to cover himself. Why? Because the people's sins, because of the golden calf and the other things they were doing, they had turned from Yah. So when you turn to Elohim, the veil or the covering or your blindness can be removed and you can be free. See, again, don't look at what you can't do. Look at what you can do in Elohim and the Master and Yahuwah and Yahusha. The freedom of which you now have. Because now you have freedom from death. You have freedom from sin. And you are free to walk freely and justly and knitly as one with the living God. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. Now the master is that Ruach, and where the Ruach of the master is, there's freedom. But we all, with open face, beholding as glass the esteem of the master, are changed into the same image. You know, to see that they're changed into the same image, from esteem to esteem, even as by the Ruach of Yahuwah. And that goes back to cutting that stone and making it like unto the first, so that we could be changed into that image. And I mentioned Colossians 1, and I didn't get that either. So let me get that now before we get out of here. Praise Yahuwah. We almost slid out of here without it. You know I'm old, so I forget stuff sometimes. But Yahuwah is faithful. He bring it on by 1 and what is it? 1 and 14? 1 and 12. Giving thanks unto the Father, which made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the Kadashim in light, who have delivered us from the power of darkness, and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. Because while we were living in darkness, now we had the power of light, because he the light of the world, and in him was the light, and the light was the light for men, and we could live forever. So hallelujah for Yahusha and the word. And we